Hey, Grow Squad. Hope you're doing well. Happy Wednesday. Whenever you listen to this podcast, you know it drops every single week on Wednesday, right? So, but again, if this is on a replay, thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. Thank you for liking, for subscribing, for sharing, and check this out, for hit that notification button as well. Thank you so much for your support all over the globe. Listen, we've got listeners, we've got viewers from everywhere that have joined the Grow Squad, and we are so excited about it. In fact, we're doing another giveaway. Yeah, did you know that? We're doing another giveaway of our signature shirt. You see it right here. Go, Grow, Glow. We're doing another giveaway of our signature shirt. We're asking you to do one thing. Send me a DM. Send me an email at eugenehamiltongroup@gmail.com. I tell you what, I'm going to do you one better, easier than that. Send it to eugene@eugenehamilton.org. Eugene@eugenehamilton.org. Send me a quick email. Let me know how this podcast has been instrumental in helping you with your life goals, inspiration, and or motivation. Just send me an email. Let me know how this podcast has been a benefit and a blessing to you. And I promise you, I'll make sure our team send one right over to you. All right, let's get going today. Let's pray and we'll move forward. God, we're grateful for this new day. We're thankful for all the blessings that you give to us that we don't deserve sometimes. Thank you for being close to us. Thank you for reminding us that you will never leave us. You'll never forsake us. I pray a special prayer for all of my friends who are listening right now. Give them what they need in this moment. In your name, amen. Today, I want to ask a question. What keeps you going? Yeah, I'm talking about days when you don't feel like going. And I know it's taboo to talk about this, but some days, on the days you feel like giving up, right? And some of you, that thought has never crossed your mind, man, thank God. But there are others who life has been so heavy. Things have been so out of whack. I know somebody that's close to me that they've lost a family member every month this year so far. That's hard. That's difficult. And death is so final that sometimes there are people who experience the loss of loved ones or people that they know, people that they're close to. And man, they just don't understand how they're still making it. I totally get now that I am of age. At first, I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. I totally get how sometimes people in life, even though they are a success to everybody else, they feel like a failure on the inside. And sometimes people feel like a failure on the inside because there are things happening around them that their success can't control. Woo. There are people around them. There are things happening around them that, have you ever seen somebody? I think about, one of my favorite basketball players, not because he was like a superstar, but I just liked his swag. Jalen Rose, when he played in the NBA, there's just something about Jalen Rose, his swag, his approach, his no nonsense demeanor. That was, and for some reason, I had a little bit of an idea in my mind about Detroit that I thought was a pretty cool place to go and be, and people that were from Detroit I thought were like the world's greatest people at one point in my life. Don't ask me where I got that from. It was just a thought that crossed my mind. But when Jalen Rose's mother passed away from cancer, as a multi-millionaire, there was nothing that his money could do to keep his mom alive. I don't know where you are right now, but some of you may have gone through something that's heavy. And I gave that illustration only because sometimes our success is not the answer to some of the things that we face in life. And success doesn't have to be money. You could have been the first one in your family to get a college degree. You could be the one in your family that's doing the things to keep everybody together. Whatever it is, sometimes we feel like failures because there are things we cannot do to stop what's happening around us. I think about Michael Jordan. And people made fun of his son the other week when he was pulled over, and I guess he had cocaine and some other drugs with him. And it didn't matter in that moment how famous his dad is. Because y'all can trip if you want to. Michael Jordan is such a genius. I mean, they've released shoes that came out when I was a kid. And kids who have never seen him play are lining up to buy shoes that were out 20 years ago. I'm like, it's mind-blowing. Oh, I'm buying the 13s. I'm buying the ones. Like, what? These shoes came out in the 80s. But when his son was pulled over, and I'm not sure what the outcome was, but I do know that, they found all kinds of stuff on him, including drugs and so forth. His dad's fame could do nothing for him. Could do nothing for him in terms of the evidence is the evidence. Now, can it help him get off his sentence and all that stuff? Maybe so. But what I'm saying is there's some times in life that our kids take a wrong turn. And just because you're a lawyer, you're a doctor, you're a principal, whatever you are, just because you got status, that does not mean you can control what they decide to do. So what keeps you going every day? What keeps you focused and determined on reaching the prize? What keeps you in a place where you say to yourself, you know what? There is nothing that's going to stop me. Now, this is interesting because there are people that I know who nothing will stop them, but that doesn't mean they don't have bad days. Let me give it to you again. There are people who I know who are wired, who have made up in their minds that nothing is going to stop them, and nothing actually stops them. But that doesn't mean that they don't have difficult days. They don't have days where they get tired, days where they get weak, days where they get to a place where they got to recharge. Well, what keeps me going? What keeps me excited about where my goals and dreams are going to take me is simply this. I know that I am one of one. Yeah. I know that I was born to do something or some things that only I can get done the way that I do them. In other words, there are two people that can make macaroni and cheese, but no two people make macaroni and cheese alike. My wife and I were just talking this morning about banana pudding, right? And how some people would say that theirs is better, and you wonder, wow, why do some people think that this one is better or this one is better? Both of you are doing your very best to produce the product. Some of you are meeting what one person's needs, and others of you are meeting another person's needs. I know that I've been called to do exactly what I've been called to do, and there are certain people that I can reach that my colleagues can't reach. There are certain people that you can reach that I can't reach. This is why over and over I ask, would you please share this episode? Would you please share this content? You know why? There are people who will go on your page. They will listen to, they will respond to your text message, and they're like, who is Eugene Hamilton? I'm not going to going to his page and look at nothing, but if you share it, they will. What keeps me going is knowing that even though this sounds like such a dichotomy, even though I've been born to do certain things that only I can do, I also know what keeps me going is that it's not about me. People walk in freedom and live life to their fullest potential when they finally realize that their life is not about them. It's not about me. It's not about how much money I can make. It's not about how much popularity I can gain. It's not about how many followers I can get. It's about the people that I've been called to connect with. It's about the people that I've been called to impact. It's about the people that I've been called to help set free. It's about the people that I've been called to give information to that will help them turn their lives around. I was a pastor for 17 years. I've been a part of churches where other ministers have been assigned there, but they couldn't reach a certain person. Other ministers have been assigned there, but they couldn't connect with a certain person. And then I show up and the testimony was that, oh, wow. I thought my son, I thought my husband, I thought my uncle would never listen to somebody at church. And when you came, wow, he won't stop coming. Then I've been places where I've left and I've tried my best to reach people outside of who I just mentioned, and I couldn't reach them. And somebody else came along, and you know what? They were able to connect with who I was unable to connect with. See, there's something about understanding that it does us no good to be a ball hog. Man, I loved Kobe Bryant's game. And everybody loves you when you're winning, when you're hitting shots. Tell me I'm lying. They turn on you as soon as you start hitting bricks. You start shooting bricks. You start missing shots. And I would love Kobe Bryant's game until it seemed as if he put himself before the team. I knew he was all about winning. I knew that he wanted that purple. I knew he wanted the Lakers to win. But sometimes with how he approached certain things, games and the end of games and trying to seal the deal, sometimes I would question, wow, why is Kobe putting himself before the team? You see, when you realize it's not about you, when you realize and recognize that this thing is bigger than you and me, you will learn how to play your position and play it to the best of your ability. Because there's nothing worse than being a person that sings soprano and you're on the third row trying to sing bass. You out of pocket, you out of order, and this thing is not going to go off well. There's nothing worse than being in the wrong position on the team, especially at the wrong time, and lives are at stake. There's something to be said about somebody who understands their role, their position. Man, I use basketball or sports analogies quite a bit. I can't think of this gentleman's name. Oh man, I think he just retired. I want to say his name is Mercedes Lewis. You can look it up. He was a tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars the last time I remembered. Or I should say, I think that was one of his first teams. He played for several teams in the NFL. And I think he's played like 19 years. Now, it's funny because people think that, or sometimes when people hear that, they're like, man, he played. I'm like, yeah, he wasn't a starter all those years. He was a starter, and this is where sometimes athletes lose their way, because when their physical ability starts to diminish, they don't know how to switch gears and play another position or play another role. See, when I think it's all about me, right? When it's time for me to take a step back and maybe be a sixth man, or maybe ride the bench for a little bit, or be involved in being a veteran presence. If I think it's all about me, I'll mess up the chemistry of the team. I'll mess up the team's ability to win because I want to stay in too long. Mercedes Lewis played an unheard of amount of years at that position in the NFL because he realized and recognized when he was falling off, to preserve what was next or was left in the tank, he had to go to the coach and agree to take a back seat. He said, "Man, you know what? If I'm going to stretch 5 more years and preserve what I got left, and still make a decent salary." So my question again is, why do you, what keeps you going? Do you have the level of maturity that will afford you that will allow you to take a back seat when it's time? To say to yourself, you know what? This young cat, this young gun, this young whippersnapper, this young person is coming in with some heat. They can do stuff that I can't do. Let me take a back seat. I'm still on the team, but I gotta get out the way. See, I know that I was born to do certain things, but I can't do it forever. And my mentor is, I wouldn't say the master of this, but he has mastered the art of putting other people on. If you don't know what I'm saying, let me break it down to soundbite. He's mastered the art of seeing something in somebody else and saying, let me help you build that up. Let me help you develop that, because I realize and recognize, hey, you got better skills at that than I did at your age. I want you to surpass me, because this thing is not about me. I want to help develop you. I want to help, and it's funny, and I don't want to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I believe sometimes it's cultural, because there are some cultures that I've seen around this globe. In fact, the dominant culture, I do know this full well, especially in certain arenas. They are notorious for developing new talent. They're notorious for saying, you know what? I'm not going to be this good for all of my days. Let me build somebody else up. You can call it nepotism, whatever you want to call it. They got the skill. They got the foresight to say, you know what? I got to pass this baton. It may not happen today, but when I retire in 10 years, somebody will be ready. Then you have people who come from my neighborhood sometimes who want to fight to stay in too long. Don't want to give away knowledge and information to help other people take their position when it's time for them to pass it on. And then what happens in that position? What happens when that happens? Oh, we don't have anybody that's skilled or have the expertise, the knowledge, or the training, excuse me, to take on that role. So what should keep you going is not title, it's not position, it's not fanfare. What should keep you going is that you've been given a certain set of skills that you ought to use while you're in your prime or otherwise to the best of your ability to impact this world, to impact other people, to impact the lives that have been entrusted to you And at the same token, find somebody that you can pour into that can get ready to take over for you, and you can retire or you can step aside knowing that the work continues. The vision will go on. It will not stop with me. It will continue long after me, and many more lives will be changed because of it. Listen, I want you all to share this episode with somebody who is struggling with their worth, struggling with their why, and struggling with, what am I supposed to do with all that I've been given? Send it to somebody who, I want you to listen to it again, right? Yourself. I want you to listen to it again. Because there are some things that were shared that I think that came straight from the heart that I think will benefit your life as you seek to leave it all on the field. When I was told that by my coach back in the day, he was like, don't come to the sideline with nothing. If you leave it all on the field, play your hardest, give the game your all, and when that clock strikes 0, it's over. So listen, I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you to live your life to the fullest, to give life everything that you've got. In the meanwhile, be fulfilled in all that you do. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Don't forget to go to my website and pick up, if you have not already. In fact, if you have already, pick up a book or a copy for a couple more kids in your neighborhood that you've met. My new book, Go, Grow, Glow, is at eugenehamilton.org. Thank you again for your support there. Thank you for supporting this podcast. Thank you again for all that you do to impact the world around us and to help other people learn how to go, learn how to grow, and learn how to glow. See you next week on our next episode. Until then, take care. Peace.